Sol de Mexico. Jose is a proud fifth-generation mariachi musician. Maestro Hernandez roots trace back into 1879 to the birthplace of Mariachi, Jalisco, Mexico. An accomplished trumpet player, virtuoso, and graduate of the Grove School of Music, Jose is highly sought-after composer and arranger whose work stretch the gamut from beginning-level ensemble selections to advanced orchestral works. Please welcome Mr. Jose Hernandez to this.
This is working. Can you all hear me? ¿Me escuchan? Y bueno, pues estoy sordo yo. Muy bien. Well, I want to thank all the educators that are here with me today, right here in this session. And I want to let you know that you guys are my heroes, okay? I mean, I've gotten a little taste of what you all have to go through, you know, bringing in new musicians, having to teach them from scratch again, the pressures that you have to try to have a great sounding group, you know, as fast as possible. But I'm very, very, very happy to see all of you here with me. I also want to thank my sponsors that made it possible for me to be here. West Music, Hans Elmer, Hal Leonard. Just great people that love the music, love the genre, and just, like I said, they make it possible for me to be here with you. As you all know, we have an awesome responsibility to educate our students in the most effective way. And we also have the responsibility to equip ourselves, right? To get the essential tools that will respect our students' instrumental and vocal capabilities. And what I see in a lot of schools, you know, sometimes is that they'll come across an arrangement that's just in one key, and they'll have a girl sing it, you know, and she's trying to sing in a boy's key, and all of a sudden they're hurting their vocal cords. And that's one of my greatest concerns, that not the right repertoire is being picked for the students. So this limits us so much, and at the same time it damages the students' vocal cords, like I said a little while ago. Creates bad singing habits. And when it comes to playing, students are introduced to a piece that is way out of their technical capacity. You all know that. You know, a lot of kids want to play Veracruz 15, the Cascabel 10 and all, these, high energy pieces. And it creates bad playing habits, like violins not being able to shift, to the high positions the correct way, or trumpet players overcompensating and putting too much pressure on their lips because they want to hit a high note. It is our responsibility as directors to adjust and rearrange any piece for the level of musicians that we have at a given time. Now, how many of you have different levels of musicians in your classes? So you guys know what I'm talking about sometimes. Right? All of a sudden you have a new batch of kids, and all of a sudden you have like some super vocalists, but they're not strong players. And then you have some strong players, and then you just have like maybe one vocalist and a whole bunch of vocals for choros only, not soloists. So we're always putting those in those situations, right? So the choices we make as directors, in my opinion, should be these. And I'm going to give you like number one. Number one is who is going to sing the song that you plan to perform, right? Is it in a comfortable key for he or she? That's number one. Number two, is the song in a key that my armonia section can play comfortably? So we have to consider that a lot, Can the bass player play those scales, in the sharps or the flats? What are the range capabilities of my trumpet players? Meaning, how high can they play to where they can still interpret without losing control of their expression, meaning vibrato, the articulations, and the clarity of sound. Sometimes we want them to play at a certain range, hey, but you gotta hit that note. And all of a sudden, yeah, they're hitting the note, but it's super loud, they can't control it. And it takes away from the interpretation of the whole group, of the arrangement. And number four, what is the highest position my string players can play comfortably so that they can stay in the pocket regarding the intonation? The last thing we want is our violins just playing a whole bunch of notes and they are out of tune, and it lessens the quality of the ensemble sound that you want, the good sound that you want. So when we see all these things, we make it easier for us to decide how we are going to voice the intro and adornos of a song. Voicing meaning inverting parts in the melodia instrument so that my musicians play comfortably while getting the best overall color regarding the overall sound of a mariachi ensemble. So this is what this class is basically all about, and this is why I have my good friends here joining me to give some examples. I brought one example, a standard that we all know. We all know El Rey, right? Who doesn't know El Rey? If you're a mariachi teacher and you don't know El Rey, we're in trouble. Okay? Jose Alfredo recorded this piece, I think, John, was it 1970, 1971? 1970, around there, right? And he recorded it, I think, in B flat. This key was a great key because the trumpets were at a range within the staff. In other words, if we write within the staff, the trumpets tend to sound nice and warm and fat, and they're not struggling a lot to play the high notes, right? And this was something that Don Jesus Rodriguez, I know many of you know Jesus Rodriguez de Hija, that's something that people notice about his arrangements. Why do Jesus' arrangement, Don Jesus' arrangement sounds so good? Well, he always wrote within the trumpet staff. He never wrote super high notes for trumpets. We do it nowadays with mariachis, right? Because el enfoque del mariachi now, what we're focusing on is show and this and that and trying to stand out. But the true sound, the quality, the clarity of the sound is basically all within the staff. The trumpet players playing within the staff. So here we have El Rey in Si bemol. And the trumpet players I recorded that was Cipriano Silva playing first trumpet and my brother Crescencio playing second trumpet. And now Crescencio, my brother, and Pedro, they always argue. Pedro says, no, I played El Rey. You didn't go to that recording session. You played the other songs on the album, but I played El Rey. So Pedro says that it was him and Cipriano. But whoever it was, it sounds awesome, right? Jose Alfredo Jimenez. So I have seen the most, that most groups play El Rey in the key of C or D, right? So what I want to do, I want to play these mariachi, these examples that we have here that are sideways. I don't know, you guys could read sideways. Está en oriental. Ahí está. A ver si se puede. This is for beginners. This is considering, if I have the trumpet player that's been playing for 6 months, maybe 3 months, just getting his chops to be able to play. I want you to hear the texture, the color of the mariachi ensemble playing this introduction in the key of D, right? Hoping that we have a tenor within our group that's going to sing this in D. Déjame tocar segunda trompeta si me permiten, o primera. ¿Cuál quieres tocar, amigo? Okay. Entonces me sigues. Let's play this, okay? 1, 2, 3. Very low key, very playable for beginners, but the color of the mariachi is there because the voicings are done in a way that help the mariachi stand out. Now, if I were to say, hey, violins, could you play the trumpet? You see the trumpet part? You have it on your music? Play it an octave higher. Okay? Play just an octave. Play first trumpet an octave higher. E, E, G, okay? 1, 2, 3. Which is another texture, it's another color. Now us as mariachi arrangers, we try to keep away from that. We always try to hear the harmony between the trumpets and the violins, right? So we go back to what we have written. 1, 2, 3. Safer playing the violins, right? We're playing on the A string. We could play open E if you want. It's a little safer. So that's one example when we're playing, we want to write or adjust a song to a beginning level mariachi. Now we go ahead and turn the page and go to intermediate level. I want you to see how things change, how the voicing changes. Now I'm thinking, okay, my trumpet player could play a concert E, he could get away with that note. He could get away with the concert F. I don't know if it's too much, but I'm hoping that my intermediate mariachi could get there. Violins are playing now on the G. If you notice, we have 3-part harmony on the strings. And if you notice, that first trumpet is harmonizing with the first violin. So I want you to hear the texture of this intermediate level arrangement. Okay, let's try it. 1, 2, 3. You see, it's another texture. It's the same key. It's a little bit more challenging for the players, right? So we always try to find a way of writing and adapting our arrangement so we can get the maximum color of the mariachi. And you can experiment too. You can go ahead and play it the way you were playing it earlier. I think you were playing in unison, right? The second violin part. Go ahead and play that. That means that you're going to be playing the same notes that I'm playing in the first trumpet, right? Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Seems like so for me, it doesn't give it the ultimate mariachi sound. You don't hear the fullness of it. But now, if they're playing the way it's written, intermediate, 3-part harmony, and we continue with the playing in por sextas in sixths, and you guys play your part, right? 1, 2, 3. Right? So that's sort of an idea for you guys to take it just as a template, for things that you say, you know what, I have this arrangement, but I only have it in this key. Kids, we got to play it in this key. And all of a sudden, the girls are singing in a lower key that they shouldn't be singing in. Or, the boys are trying to sing in a super high key or a very low key that they shouldn't be singing in. And we're hurting their voices, right? Now, let's go to, I think there's an advanced level one, which is probably something that, the top mariachis would play, right? Why? Because the trumpet players could play up there. When you're playing at that higher range, soy un poquito más alegre. Why? Because the trumpet is blaring out there, right? Let's go ahead and play that. And we probably play it at a faster tempo now, right? 1, 2, 3. Right, we're at that advanced level trumpet player being able to play that high. We're playing unison on the top. We're playing unison, right, with the top violins. But we still have the harmonies going on in the second and third violins. So if you hear all these different textures and colors, the mariachi, the way we move around the instrumentation or the orchestration of the mariachi it's not really that difficult. Always try to find a harmony between the first trumpet and your first violin. Try to keep away from playing in unison. First trumpet player and second violin, you always have to look for the harmony. It's like if you're going to do a fill, you're going to write a fill for a song, and all of a sudden the fill is playing the same notes as the vocal. And you're just right on top of the vocal. It's better to stay a third above, or a sixth below. Always away from the vocal. Now, if you're writing for opera, right, an aria, yeah, you want to play the melody with the vocal, right? It's a different type of music, right? But for mariachi, we're always trying to find that harmony. And there are still many other ways to write this. to orchestrate this. I think behind this page, there might be another one. Like for instance, okay, this is my take on it, right? I'm gonna say, oye, quiero un arreglo del rey, pero quiero el arreglo tradicional. I go, well, no quiero copiar el original, right? Mejor voy a entrar con una trompeta y luego at the end, which is the peak of the whole musical phrase, I'm gonna have the second trumpet come in, right? The trumpet's gonna actually come in on measure 9, okay? Right? Listen to it, okay? So it's one trumpet and violins unison, old school, right? Miguel Martinez, old school, 1940s, 1950s, y se oye muy bonito, right? 1, 2, 3. It's still el rey. It's still another color. It's the solo trumpet with the unison violins, and then the trumpets come in at the end, so it could sound a little bit more powerful. And I say solo trumpet. I'm playing solo trumpet. I'm going to make sure that I'm in a lower range. I'm not in that blaring high range. I'll play up there when I have a trumpet player below me playing, because it still makes it sound a little nicer, a little rounder and powerful. But here I want to sound, within the staff. Did you play that one more time for them, please? 1, 2, 3. So that's just an idea for you guys. For instance, have any of you ever had a girl ask you, hey, I want to sing El Rey? Anybody? Like for us, when we used to back up Lola Beltran all the time. Pepito, quiero cantar, voy a cerrar con El Rey. Okay. ¿La reina es el rey? No, el rey. El rey. Cantaba el rey. Right? Así tal como está la letra. She would sing el rey. So we're okay, Doña Lola va a cantar en mi o en fa. ¿Verdad? So, how do we orchestrate that? How do we change the key and try to find the best color sound for my mariachi ensemble, right? So we're going to go down the steps, right? So let's go to the empty staff paper. You guys have empty staff? I'm going to work this out with you guys right now.
If you don't have empty staff paper, that's
I'm going to walk you through. Un aplauso para los músicos, por favor, del maestro. A ver. Sí, ¿puedo escribir en este? We could do a couple of versions of it. You're going to see it written up. A ver. Eso se tiene que voltear si es posible. A ver. ¿Se ve? ¿O no? Yeah.
not just one.
¿Qué pienso con uno nomás? So we're going to determine for what level arrangement do you want to do it? We're going to decide that it's an F. Is it easier for kids to play an F or an E? Muy bien. Menos el guitarrón, ¿no? Pero, okay, so we're going to go to the key of F. So if you have a pencil, go ahead and write in the key of F. Vamos a poner acá un bemol. Bemoles aquí, everything's going to be in concert. ¿Verdad? So, we have our double bar here. So we're in the key of F. It's pretty cool for the trumpets, right? If it's an intermediate, so we'll do an intermediate, right? So, that's a perfect range for trumpets. How about violins if they're harmonizing that? Oh, great. It's E, E, G, E, G. That's awesome, right? So what we're going to do, we're going to put the trumpets to play. Sol, sol, si. Right? Boom, bum, bum, with the pickup. Right? Right? We're going to continue the same thing. Sol, sol, fa, mi. Mi. Turn it back. Right? So the violins are going to play on the E string, right? Up here. Violin. You see that? Look it up. A ver, lo moví. Perdón, estos son míos. Do, re, mi, fa, sol. Mi, sol, mi, re, do. Es sol, sol, fa, sol. No tengo aquí. ¿Qué es sol aquí, perdón? Sol, fa, sol. Mi, la. We're still within the first position, right? Violins could play, they could play unison. Now, the second trumpet could play what the top violin is playing. ¿Lo tienen ahí, muchachas? ¿Sí ven? Más o menos? A ver. Just so you could get a little idea of that. How that would sound in F for a young girl, right? See? Here from there. Go ahead and just. Let me see. A little bit more. Okay. You got that? You can read from in that key. The key of F, right? 1, 2, 3. Of F, it's great. A young girl could sing. It's right in the perfect key for a young girl to sing. And the mariachi, the color of the mariachi sounds really good. And you still have options there. You could still, I mean, you're still in that first position. You could still do harmonies, right? You guys play mi sol, mi sol, mi sol. You can play that. You can play from. You're playing that right now. B flat to D. Right? And then the third violin. Good, just play there. Could play the G on the bottom. You're playing actually the melody, right? Down there. Can you play that? You play the top. 1, 2, 3, 1. That's very, very traditional. That's very traditional. 3-part, it's simple, it's intermediate, and we go ahead and play it. Se oye bonito también, ¿no? With the 3-part harmony. 1, 2, 3. Right? So that's a sort of mariachi arranging concept or orchestration that really, really, really helps the ensembles. It doesn't matter who's playing in your group. You could always adjust it as a director, adjust it so the clarity of your mariachi sound could sound really good. And I mean, people that really do know mariachi or arrangers that know mariachi, we tell right away, they go, no, that is well thought out. I mean, it's in the right key, everything is written. Now you could go ahead and play that. Play exactly the same thing. I'll tell you what, and more of an advanced professional level, play it here. Unison from the G on your E string, right? You play, you're playing an octave lower, they're playing an octave higher. Okay?
You want us to play unison?
Yeah, unison on the E string, right? So now I'm going to play in harmony with them in a higher key. Why? Because it's advanced. I have a trumpet player that could really, punch it up there, right? Right? It's blaring, it's out there, it's alegre. Why? Because we have the players that could actually do that. Right? There's so many ways of switching this out. Yeah. You could do it using that same line where you harmonize from there down, right? So you're playing. You can play from the E, yeah? From B flat, right? Let me hear that. Violins, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. No, you ended up in octaves with her. D, D, C, D, D, C, D, C, F, E, D. Re, do, re, do, right, that's the way it is. But see, if I want to do it with one trumpet, go ahead and play that. The way, yeah, the 3-part harmony. 1, 2. Right? Y se oye bonito con una trompeta, and then the trumpet player comes at the end, right? To just give it that extra punch. So that's a way we sort of figure out the adaptations to whoever we're writing for. I was telling one of the fellow teachers that with Sol, it's, with Sol throughout the years, it's always changed. Right now we have a lot of vocals, a lot of pretty good vocals. So my vision for writing for Sol is different than what it used to be when I used to have them 30 years ago, 35 years ago. It changes a little bit, but still the concept and the color of the sound of Sol is still there. It hasn't changed. But I always have to adjust to what I have. The last thing that I do is try to, like for instance, who's heard our recording of Sufriendo Solas? You know, that got a lot of airplay on radio. The radio guys used to love Sufriendo Solas from that record. And then they used to like, yo nací sin fortuna y sin nada, desafiando. And the guy that used to sing it was Timoteo, que tocaba vihuela. Great vocalist. But he was like the only vocalist I had in the group. I mean, literally, ranchero vocalist, you know. So, you know, he felt like the star of the group, right? Because he was the only vocalist, and I go, you know what, if I don't sing that song, people are not as happy, right? So, I'd have to find a way to adjust other repertoire to my other singers to try to make them more of a part of the show, so I wouldn't have to load the whole part of the show on one vocalist, right? So he won't feel so much that he's indispensable for the group. You know, because no, because this guy, so people are gonna get used to this guy singing. You know, then if he's not here, if he leaves, I'm gonna lose a lot of clientele at my place, right? So I always try to try to spread everything. And as far as the music, the repertoire, my vocalist, doesn't matter at what level they're singing, I try to find a way to give the utmost, you know, of my group as far as a performance to the people. But Timoteo is an awesome vocalist. To this day, he still sings really pretty. You know. But do we have any questions about what we're writing about? Anything? Any other things that come up?
Question. We can elaborate on the three-part violin, nothing to it, la tercera sounding part.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate that and not maybe using it on the top line or that? You know what I'm saying? The tercera sounding part, the one that the weird.
Well, we're always we never, you know, and your ear is going to tell you when you say, you know what, that actually should only be two-part, because that inversion with the third part, it just doesn't sound good, you know. We want to keep away from the perfect fifths. In the old mariachi style, yeah, there was a whole bunch of perfect fifths and repeating. Sometimes they'd repeat the notes, and the old sones, they used to do them like that. But in the 60s, when Don Jesus came, you know, as the director of Vargas, he started taking off a lot of that stuff. They started sort of shifting it just a little bit, the rhythm section and the melodia section, the trumpets and the violin voices. Well, why? Because Don Jesus was studying a little counterpoint, a little harmony. He had a little bit more of a higher level. He was a little bit more intellectual when it came to mariachi orchestration. You know, then Rigoberto got into the picture of it. You know, these guys were really good at their crafts, and they still are, you know. So, yeah, I mean, si estás tocando, go ahead and play. Toquen el rey, la cuerda que estaban tocando ahorita. That sounds pretty. I mean, it doesn't have a bad note in it, you know. But if you think about it, there's a ninth. What? But C9? What? El rey is C9? Oh yeah, it's a 9. Because if I go like this, play, if I do it, watch that. Yeah, I'm forming a perfect triad. It just sounds horrible. It sounds horrible, you know. And there are a lot of mariachi arrangements that are written like that aren't written correctly. And that's why we're here, you know, just to give you guys an idea. You always try to find the extension, you know. Perfect, the sixth, you know, it's so nicer sounding than hitting that perfect fifth. Oh my God, that sounds horrible. Play it again. You know, está horrible, pues, está muy feo, right? But now if you hear it this way, 1, 2, 3, 1. Now. Trying to find, you know, it's either 1, 3, 4 or 1, 4, 3. In other words, it's like if you're playing C, play the toquen do, say you're doing play a G, right? G, and then you're playing the third below. No? I'm playing the fourth down over here. I'm not playing the perfect fifth. Play again. I don't want that, unless it's the ending of a song or something, right? But I'm usually playing. Play that. Okay. Okay. So. But with those boys. No. Acerrochado, ¿eh? 1, 2, 3. Está rum ta 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 tum tum ta dum ta 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 tum tum do so dum so 1, 2. So okay, 1, 2. So for instance, that's just something that I'm inventing right now as a song, right? So if I'm doing a song that I want in that kind of rhythm, you know, son variaciones, and los sones son variaciones, right? So if I'm making up a song, an instrumental song like that, I'm always making sure that I don't have that perfect fifth, because I'm not really jumping anything. Everybody's moving parallel, you know, and it sounds really pretty, right? Play it one more time. 1, 2. Okay? That's natural. Well, right? So do the last part. 1, 2. No, it's a 5 chord, yeah. Right? Do that 1, 2. Right? You're moving parallel to her. Just the last note, you got to jump it because it goes to a 5 chord. 1, 2. So if I'm doing that 8-bar phrase, right, that we're composing right now, so we're going da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 da. Right? 1, 2. Right? So then, obviously, what's next? That's a song, right? You know, they're all like little patterns, and all of a sudden, right? You make a kind of lyric or whatever, right? But that's the way mariachi is. We always try to find the right combinations, you know, of harmonies, and try to keeping away from the perfect fifths, you know. But that was a great question, John. You know, because sometimes when we're improvising harmonies like that, you know when you have a good tercerero in the group, so está bravo para la tercera, you know, because he has taste, you know.
I have a question. When you're writing for like a original single line, you want to write it for 3 parts, what would you want to do with like the third, you know, or the second?
Well, it depends. Well, first of all, it depends on what the harmony, what the chord is, right? You got to give me an example of a song, for instance. Yeah, you can name any song that you would say, okay, let's harmonize it, right? Just cualquier canción ranchera, no importa. Ella, ¿en qué tono? ¿En do? Right? Right? So if I have the trumpet playing up there, so for me, so. So we have that, right? We're doing the harmony with him, right? What? But that's one. But then you could also do it in 3-part harmony, right? Right? Okay, you play second? Just the violins as well. Did you notice I stayed on the same? Right? Right? So I'm staying. You got to sort of complete the chord, right?
So would it be the same like if you were making a vocal line?
Yeah, you're always trying to find that third or the sixth, right? And then fill it in with the other note of the chord. But always try to keep away from perfect triads because, yeah.
So, if you were modulating, like if you were playing a song in A and you wanted to use a male trio,
Okay.
you want to modulate it to female trio,
Uh-huh.
what would you go to?
Well, you're going to go from A to C, right? So for the key.
Go range for a female trio?
Yeah, because there are at least 3 keys above the male key. Right? So a modulation from A major to C major it's a beautiful modulation. Right? So if you're playing bolero in La, and then you go to G7 to C. So 1 bar of La, 3, 4. G7. Soy bonito. Right? But it just depends what song it is, right? Right? I mean, you have your basic chord, you have everybody, you guys are all teachers, right? You guys know what the basic chords are. Now, if you studied harmony, or modern harmony, or, the extensions of the chords, you have a whole nother, it's another world up there, But in sonas, we don't get too extravagant, we're not gonna go 4-part harmony on the becerra, right? You're not gonna do that. Sí, sí.
I've come across several arrangements where first violin has melody, second violin is harmonized,
Uh-huh.
third violin is just first violin down a notch.
Yes, and that usually happens at around this range. Yeah. Play there. Yeah. Or play from here down. So no, I think it will be here. So if you're here, if you're playing thirds, it's usually when you're playing a line like if you're playing, play that, okay? Sol.
Me, I'm on top.
Maybe whoever's playing first, second. So if you're 3, 4. That kind of thing, right? It's usually when the violins are high, the first violin is high, and you need that octave to give it the warmth in the body. That's when we usually add the octave.
So it's for more projection of the melody.
And they used to use that a lot. Who used to do that a lot was Fernando Zeta Maldonado. He did that a lot in the arrangements of Yolanda del Rio. They were, the arrangements, the commercial arrangers of that day, they used to get their little hang-ups and their little kicks and their voicings. All of a sudden, everybody was using this voicing because the song was a hit. And everybody wanted to sort of write the same. Nowadays, we could do that. Go like this, so go. Do that. On the bottom. Play on the top, you want? Unison with it. 3, 4. I want it to sound like, wow, there's like a viola playing on there on the bottom. And it's not. It sort of gives you the impression of it. But it really isn't doing that. I'm playing over here in the 13th lower. Right? There's many ways of voicing these things. A lot of times also we're doing 3-part harmony. Yeah. You do that? We're in the key of G. That sharp right there. So just that part, right? So stay there. Okay, or play there, the E. You play the C. What? No, play the E. Yeah? You're in 6. Okay, so you good? Hear that voice in? It sounds pretty, It doesn't, now if I play that G on top to fill in the chord, play it. You play the same thing? Sounds good. But if I drop that G down an octave, now it gets a more romantic tempo of ella, that's a perfect voicing for it. Si es algo alegre, you want to play it up there, right? Because it's soy alegre, it has that color, you know. So we're always trying to look what's the best kind of color, you know, possible for the tempo that I'm playing, and all that. That comes. Those are decisions that are made every time that you're going to do something for your group, or if somebody turns in an arrangement to you and you buy an arrangement from someone, an original arrangement, and you say, that sounds good, but you know what, I have the choice. Why don't we bring that violin line down? Or we do. You have those options. And that really makes your group take that extra step, you know, as far as interpretation, as far as the color and the texture of the sound of your group. You know, you guys pick up on this very, very, very quick. So I hope I sort of gave you a little idea of how we see things. And in mariachi, when I was growing up, right away, I mean, we would, oye, que vamos a tocar el pabio návido. Okay, so Toño would turn around, violín esto, ahí, el la. Y la trompeta ya empezamos aquí. I would see right from the beginning, since I was 15, that they already knew exactly how they were going to voice the introduction. It didn't matter what key. So I sort of grew up listening to that and learning that concept. And it really, really does help the sound of the group. You know, it's, sometimes I hear some student groups and I go, wow. I mean, the little kids could play, you know, 3 notes higher than where he's playing the trumpet. I don't know why they didn't put him to play that. They would make the ensemble sound better. You know, and hopefully this little idea of El Rey, that the little handout that I gave you guys, that it could serve as a sort of a guide, for you guys. It would also be good for you guys to mess around and write a little something, a little introduction, and have your kids play it, because you guys know their capabilities, right? Their instrumental capabilities or their vocal capabilities. You know, it'll help you guys sort of get your chops together when it comes to mariachi writing. Any other questions? No sean tan preguntones. Who's been teaching like more than 20 years? More than 30 years? 35 years? Estás viejo ya. Estamos. Estamos, sí. But you know, it's just awesome to see how great the movement, you know, especially here in Texas, you know, how it's grown and how you guys are basically, you know, a motivation for other teachers in other states and in other countries. It's awesome. I always use you guys as an example. You guys are light years ahead of many other places. You know, there are some places that are close, but you guys are still ahead. You know. Amen. The Texas Mariachi machine. Okay, the Texas Mariachi. But see, something that we have to also be very aware of is when you buy arrangements, when you hear arrangements, it's always, you have to try to get your kids to listen to the records. Because for mariachi trumpet playing, there isn't one piece of music that will tell you exactly how to play a song. At all. I mean, mariachi is just so lyrical and it's so, everything's cantable, you know, when you're playing the trumpet, and even in the violin in a way, right? So we're always trying to make the instrument talk when we do it. You know? No, the trumpets do that. Dun, dun, dun. Violins. Play it. No. It's in the D, right? What? But don't go. The trumpets do that. You're gonna go all connected. 1, 2, 3. But what you are going to attack is every first note from the change of the bow. So you're gonna go. Don't attack all the other ones, the notes in between. Just play them long, right? 1, 2, 3, 1. We always try to find the strongest bowls to play ranchero, right? So you're playing, go ahead and play. We're almost done with this. 1, 2, 3, 1. Really dig in. Va, 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 va. You know? You see how I'm attacking the note? Es para que se oiga ranchero. Now you can put on your band director hat and say, hey, you're overblowing. You know what I mean? And mariachi nowadays, we're hearing it, you know, I could play loud, you know, when it comes to introductions, because I know the violins have microphones. Now, I know we're playing in a restaurant. I'm gonna turn around, you play? The notes short. I'm not playing it as loud, but if I'm on stage, the introductions, I'm playing them loud. Come. Now I embellished it, but that's all fair in mariachi because I'm playing trumpet alone right now, right? I could get away with it. That's the kind of stuff that's like that next step, you know, where we're still trying to maintain the tradition and trying to get kids to listen to those records, you know, those old records and the good trumpet players and the good, you know, the violinists that really interpret. Because the mariachi is about trying to make it sing. The other day, I was remembering, I go, God, I had this melody in my mind of cuando nadie te quiera, cuando nadie te quiera. Cuando nadie te quiera, that's the introduction to Cuando nadie te quiera. It was like a little song. An introduction, like a little song. Introductions de Rubén Fuentes. Muy bonitas. So you needed a Miguel Martinez to play those melodies for them to sound really pretty. Because there's no way a trumpet player is going to get away. There's no way. You know, expression. And that's what Miguel had. And Cipriano had that too. You know. And it's really good for the kids to be able to listen to those old introductions. Grítenme piedras del campo, all the beautiful introductions, you know, from the old days, because that's a big part of mariachi, of the mariachi sound. Thank you so much. Ya no hay preguntas, ¿no? Nomás el preguntón de John ahí que me hizo favor. Después te pago, ¿eh? Thank you so much.
Again, we want to thank Conselmer and West Music for bringing Maestro Jose Hernandez. Also, let's see. I want to tell you about, there was some of you who didn't get this. This is